Hello, everyone. It is Pat coming back on here to YouTube to take a look at the forecast, the energies, the archangels for our month of May 2025. Okay, I've got a little bit of weird sun streaming going on in here, so it's a bit reflective. And anyway, so if you see some weird light stuff going on here, that's what it's about. All right, so for this month's reading, to take a look at what's coming up for us this month, I pulled out, of course, the archangels to see what archangels are overseeing us. Working with Cliff Barron Reed's Wisdom of the Oracle. And I pulled out, of course, the Rider-Waite Tarot, because that always adds some interesting details to things. So now what's interesting about this month is I pulled 4 cards because there's 4 weeks to the month. Not that necessarily each card applies specifically to, 1 week and the next week and the next week, etc. But anyways, we start out with 2 angels who are about gentleness and compassion. Okay. We have Sandalphon reminding us with this message of gentleness, and you're Zadkiel with this message of compassion. So I think in a sense, it's as we come into May, there's a lot of stuff that's taken place in this first quarter of the year. A lot of stuff that we don't like that's going on. A lot of people have lost jobs. It's, I feel like this has to do with the compassion that we are having for people who are going through difficult times, as well as compassion for ourselves, because we're all going through an unprecedented time. Okay. So it's both a reminder and and them letting us know what's going to be taking place this month within ourselves and within the world. Okay. They're reminding us to be gentle with ourselves. This isn't an easy time to be in. So take good care of yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. We're upset about some things going on. Maybe we've encountered some difficult times. And if there's a lot of, fear and anger, underneath the surface, remember to be compassionate with yourself and those who are going through things like layoffs. There's a lot of that is happening, the rising of prices. So there's those elements that are coming into play here. Okay. We also have the angel Jeremiah. He came in with this life review message, which, basically means, it says, take inventory of your life and resolve to change or heal anything that's unbalanced. Sorry. And that is what we are doing as a collective right now, especially in our, here in the United States. We're looking at what's going on saying, wait a minute, something needs to change. This needs to change. We can't go on this way as a country. Okay. And a lot of that is going on around the world. People are looking at what's going on and they're saying, wait a minute, this isn't, something about this needs to change. We need to look in other areas. We need to look at other resources, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. And this, the archangels kind of show what, the bigger picture. Okay. And I certainly like to connect it to what's going on in our world, but it's also can be true for us at a personal level as well. I mean, we might be looking at our own lives, and because of the changes that are going on in the external world, we are looking at, okay, what changes do I need to make? We need to change it, maybe looking at our own personal lives and what needs to change, what needs to be healed, et cetera. Okay. And finally, we had Ariel coming in with this message of spread your wings. And says, don't hold back right now. The timing is perfect. You're ready to soar. So, the time is right for us to do what we need to do to make the changes. I mean, it certainly may signal that there are opportunities coming in for many of us personally. And it's saying that, yeah, now's the right time to take advantage of that. The timing is perfect to move forward in a new direction. Okay. And, it's very much a message of Don't let fear hold you back. Fear of making a change. Sometimes we get a little afraid of moving out of our comfort zone into something new. So we maybe procrastinate or what have you. I'm guilty as charged. But so Ariel's encouraging us, just like, a bird that's leaving the nest for the first time to test its wings. That's what that message is about. It's time to step out into with new ideas, step into new opportunities. So it's a real overseeing encouragement that way. The timing is right for certain things to change right now. Okay. And, I mentioned in a previous reading, I think it was back in mid-March. That's when it was. I had mentioned at that time that I sensed that it was around mid-March that I sensed what I call the turning of the tides. And that tide is coming in. That surge of energy, which is affecting us as a people, is moving us forward to stand up to the forces that are trying to undercut us or that are doing things that are unfair and unjust. And some of the cards from Colette Baron-Reid certainly reflect that. Okay, we have, we started out with the Yang card, was it very much as a card about empowered action. It's taking the action steps. All right, we are ready personally and as a people to take action. And we're taking action towards peace, okay, and fairness. Establish, where we're seeing a lot of stuff that's going on that's unfair. And so that's where we're taking our action. It's like we're standing up and saying, listen, we can't do this. This isn't right. We also have the exchanging gifts card here, which in combination with the others, it does suggest that, our efforts are, successful. And we just have to, like kind of what Sandalphon and Zadkiel archangels mentioned, we want to make sure we're not always doing. Things get accomplished in the world as a result of an exchange. Okay. You put time, effort, and energy into something. And then there's a point that you hit where you do receive the rewards of those efforts. Okay. The investment of your time and energy. Okay. And it's important to be a good receiver of that as well. So, I also think, as I looked at this card, I was reminded of I was seeing some news reports about, Trump and Zelensky, having a meeting and kind of coming into some deal about Ukraine's resources. And, this certainly may speak to that on the worldly sense that as a different strategy that's being employed, that kind of going into these places with these countries and trying to make deals instead of saying, oh, we're going to take over your country. We want to buy your country. We want to make you part of the United States. It may be that Mr. Trump is trying to go in and, make deals with them, since the first idea that he had was not very popular. But anyways, that being said, at a personal level, it's in our, everyday world, it's about, the exchange of ideas, the exchange of energies, the give and take, the giving and receiving. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So now let's look at some of the tarot cards that came out. And the first one that came out today for this month was the Ace of Swords, which is this hand, this magical hand, like literally coming out of a cloud, throwing the sword up. Like, we're going to take it. To me, it just mirrors that action Yang card, ideas, inspiration, we are charging forward. Okay. And it's followed by literally a knight charging forward, the Knight of Wands. And I sort of feel as I look at this, I'm not super, super well versed on tarot. So I kind of work with it in a more literal way. It's like we have the knight in shining armor charging in to save us or to help us move forward with these, this energy that we want that is preventing injustice. Okay. Or looking to see that. And it's turning the devils of the world upside down on their head. Okay. We're trying to disrupt that, those energies, which are, like the devil, in the sense that they don't care about the well-being of other people, and they're performing evil acts, et cetera, et cetera. Those things, those people are being turned on their head. Okay. And, in some ways it could be, the way that could happen, we might see a lot of things coming to light this month. New information, things that were previously behind closed doors or under the water come up to the surface, and, we see them, and that turns the devils on their head, turns them upside down. They're exposed. Okay. And finally, we get the card, the Nine of Wands, which has I'm trying to get it so you can see it clearly here in my lovely background, huh? All right. So the Nine of Wands is a card that has a man standing in front with his wand. He's got kind of a bandage on his head, and he looks a little weary, but he's persevered. He definitely stood up and defended his territory, and is still ready to defend his territory. And it's, a bit of being triumphant, like, yeah, I'm still standing. And, and he's kind of looking off, at least with the way I lay these cards out. He's looking off to the overturned devil, the devil who's been turned on his head. He's like, yeah, we're done with you. So it's, in a way, it's kind of an interesting card of, having been, having persevered, and having stood your ground. And, that is important, something important that's happened during this time. So I think it's going to be a very interesting month in what takes place and what happens. There certainly is actions that we're taking. It might be in the form of protest still, or, other ways. And I want to say, at a personal level, when I look at these, we might be, Archangel Jeremiah came in with this message that we're going to be kind of reviewing things, and we may be reviewing our own life personally. And we might see that we need to take action to bring more peace and, fairness into our own lives. We might have realized that we're overextending ourselves in some way, or that we've made ourselves a doormat. And so we have to bring balance to that by making it more of an exchange. Okay. We've given a lot of our time and energy, and now we need to allow ourselves to receive. Or it could be the other way. Maybe you have received a lot of help, and now you're ready to say, you know what? I need to make a contribution back. Okay. I need to give back to what has been of the people who have benefited me and inspired me, et cetera, et cetera. So, and it's a way of helping to we're taking steps to do things that help to bring us more inner peace within ourselves, because that is the strength that gets us through difficult times. Okay. Going in and finding a place of peace within yourself doesn't mean you don't stand up to injustice. It just means you're doing it from a very centered, grounded place. And that's important. Okay. It's important for our own well-being to establish or reestablish a sense of our own inner peace. Peace is always there. It's always available to us. Okay. But when we've been disrupted, it sometimes does take a conscious effort to reclaim it. It does take action on our part to do the things that help to reestablish our own inner balance and our own inner sense of peace. And then we can better deal with or cope with, what's going on and what's going on in the outer world, and approach that with a more balanced viewpoint. So anyways, so those are some of the messages that I've gotten for this month. I want to thank you for watching, for joining me. If this resonated with you, please hit the like or button or subscribe. And I look forward to speaking with you again soon. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.